So we're back at the Holiday Drive custom home, and since our last video we were working on the first floor block. Since then we finished the first level, poured the top of wall tie beam, installed the floor trusses and the floor system, and now we're working on the second floor of block. So the typical construction styles for homes in this area, really there's two options. On the second level you can do all wood framing above, or you can do block on the second floor. Block offers a lot of benefits. It's a little bit more cost-wise and schedule-wise. Takes a little bit more time and more subcontractor phasing, but you do get a lot more structural integrity, seamless transitions from the first floor to the second floor, pest reduction, noise reduction, termite resistance, and in this area, a lot of wind and hurricane resistance. Working through the second story block compared to frame is a little bit more intense when it comes to schedule, materials, and the subcontractors coming in and out. So the process is, after the first floor block and the tie beam is complete, we'll then get our floor truss delivery and lumber delivery. The framers will come on site, frame the load-bearing walls on the first floor, put on any ledgers or beams that the floor trusses are going to sit on top of. They'll install the floor trusses and the subfloor. At that point, the block subcontractor can come back, crane the block onto the second floor, set up scaffolding, and start laying block on the second level. These are the two most common scenarios when you're building from the first floor to the second floor. On the left is a masonry first floor and a frame second floor. So in this case, you block up the first floor, pour the tie beam, or create the bond beam at the top, and the floor trusses will sit on top of that. From there, the framing is installed on top of the subfloor. The second scenario, and in this case for this home, we have block on the first floor and the second floor. So the block continues up. There's a tie beam at the top of the wall on the first floor, which is poured, and then the floor trusses span between the block walls. This can either be sitting on top of a ledger, which is shown here. A PT ledger is anchored to the side of the block walls on the interior, and then the floor truss top cord is either extended to sit on top of the ledger, or this floor truss is bucketed or hanging into the ledger. We have a couple different scenarios in this home, so I'll go ahead and show you where those connections and those details are. This is in the kitchen wall, so this is an exterior block wall where the floor trusses are dying into it. So you can see, in this case, we're using a double 2x12 PT ledger, which is anchored to the block walls with a tie beam. And then these floor trusses have a top cord that extends and hangs on top of that ledger. After the floor trusses are installed, they're strapped to that ledger with hurricane straps and Simpson ties to solidify that engineering connection. Throughout the house, it's not always floor truss sandwiched in between two block walls. In this case, here we have an exterior block wall where the floor trusses are ledgered into it at the top. On the opposite side of this truss, it's actually sitting on top of an interior framed load-bearing wall. So that wall was framed before we started the floor system and is carrying the load of half of those trusses in that span. Once we finish the second floor block and tie beam, we'll get our roof truss delivery and our framer will come back. They'll crane the roof trusses on the second floor and start framing all the interior walls, doing the roof and wall sheathing.